Ah, and it stayed on this time. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone. That's not good.
Oh,
Okay. And I'm hitting the start button on my stopwatch, and we're ready. Three, two, one. Good morning, Sheila. How are you doing today?
good morning, Wayne. I'm excellent. How are you today?
You know what? I'm a little bit under the weather, but it's okay.
Oh,
My allergies are kicking in, and
uh,
so all the.
I think it's because you took too long a walk in the warm air yesterday.
You think that's what it was?
Yes, because I
Okay.
like cold walks, not warm walks. So I'm going to blame everything on a warm walk.
There you go. And welcome everyone to 27 Minutes with Sheila and Wayne, where we talk about skills that have been learned, forgotten, misused, and or totally abandoned as we are attempting to change the world one verb at a time. Sheila, would you tell us what our verb is today?
Well, normally I would jump in on our verb, but I would love our guest to tell us the verb and why she chose it.
Oh, we have a guest today.
Yes, we do.
That's right. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Deutschland, we are talking across well, talking across the oceans here. We have Petra Stuckmann from Deutschland. And Petra is an avid reader. She likes to read in English. She likes to read English books because it helps her learn the English language a little bit better. She enjoys yoga. She's a therapist. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's my friend and just a lovely individual. So, Petra, what is our verb for today?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the warm introduction, Wayne. I really appreciate that.
But it's all
And-
true. So, yes.
Can I add too that you are one of our one of the we get some of the best feedback from you about how we can go and take our podcast in different directions, and we just really appreciate how you've contributed to this project as well.
That is
oh,
absolutely
thank you
true.
so much. This is because I enjoy your show so much and the variety of all the verbs. This is so interesting. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And so, what is our verb today,
The verb
Petra?
is to accept. And
Accept.
I had the honor to choose this verb, and I think it's so interesting because it has so many aspects. Because you can accept people, you can accept situations, and there's just such a variety of everything. And even the way you accept something can also be so different. And this is what I find so fascinating.
Yes, it is a fascinating word, isn't it?
I
And Sheila,
agree.
what did you find with your research on the definition of accept?
I There are multiple definitions, but my two favorites are the first is to consent to receive a thing offered. And secondly, from a more psychological orientation, the process of embracing thoughts, emotions, and other intense experiences without judgment and without trying to change them.
Oh, I like that. I
I did too.
I have a couple others.
Yes,
To
good.
agree to agree to take something, I take full responsibility.
Mm.
One of those examples, and to endure. And I liked to endure particularly. And as we get nearing the rest of the show, I have a quote. I took your lead, Sheila. I have a
Good.
quote,
I
but
love a good quote.
it's a quote from an article, so
Okay.
it's a paragraph.
Oh,
but
okay.
but I will read that, and then I will add some life examples with that because I found, just like Petra and you, I found this verb so compelling, so extraordinary because there are opposite sides to both sides of this accept. And
Right.
okay, and why do you say right?
Well, some things are good to accept, some things are unacceptable, which I
Okay.
realize is not a verb.
Yes. And Petra, you as a therapist and like to do yoga, what have you found the fun words accept to be used in on a daily basis for you? What do you like most about accept in those challenges?
Um, well, my thoughts about accept were that it's easy to accept things which are, well, let's say, easy to accept. Um, for instance, if you get a raise in salary, or if you have a
Aha.
good meal, or I don't know, if you have a good invitation, something like that. But on the other hand, if you have to accept things that won't make feel you so good, this is hard to accept.
Mm-hmm.
So my idea was it's easier to flow with life and to accept things instead of going into resistance and to spend some extra energy to resist things and to say no and to feel stuck in a certain situation. And I think accept is the, well, let's call it foundation for your further actions that you want to
Oh,
take.
I
And
like that.
this is your basis. And from that basis on, you can proceed. But
Mm-hmm.
you have to, this is the first step. You have to accept something, and then you can consider your further whatever you want to do.
You're right. You're right. You really can't explore all of the possible next steps if you haven't accepted it first.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Super.
And Sheila, I know you have some. Oh, wait a minute. I hope you have some quotes for us.
I happen to have some quotes for us
Oh,
today.
wow. Could you share, please?
I will. The first was by Albert Einstein, who said, "Once we accept our limits, we go beyond them." And interesting about that, several other people have claimed that quote too. So, for what that's worth,
Okay.
Bob Dylan, the musician, said, "I accept chaos. I'm not sure whether it accepts me." And the long-term advice giver in the newspaper columns, Ann Landers, said, "Don't accept your dog's admiration as conclusive evidence that you are wonderful."
Ooh.
Oh, and then one final one, because I loved this one. H. Jackson Brown Jr. said, "If someone offers you a breath mint, accept it."
Ooh.
Because maybe they know something you don't.
They probably know something that you just don't. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
So,
Okay. Wow. Petra, so the word accept, how do you use it? Did you use it today? The word accept?
Sure. Because my day was very interesting. I had a lot of appointments and they were preponed, and I had an exact schedule. Well, and that was it. So I had to reorganize myself. And yeah, that was not always easy. So I had to accept every change that came along. And yeah, but I made it.
Okay.
you are here.
Very
We are grateful
interesting.
you are here.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I think you have to be mindful just to be an observer, and that you see, I have to accept this, I have to accept that. I think the whole day is full of situations or people that want to be accepted or that have to be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
yes, and we talked many times about pairings of verbs. And Sheila, looking at accept,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to pair accept with internal confidence. I tend to confidence is the verb.
Okay.
And is that a verb? Confidence? No, that's not a verb, is it?
It's a quality.
Yeah, it is a quality. But okay, so self-efficacy is really what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And so I enjoy pairing accept with self-efficacy because I've had some jobs that I did not like.
Okay.
However, in those jobs, I did the best I could do.
Mm-hmm.
I got lots of awards, and people would think that I loved my job, and I did not. But what I accepted was the fact that I had this job. I have to do well. I'm also accepting the fact that I am not going to be here in this job for a great length of time. And so I had to have the self-efficacy, the confidence in myself to move forward, like Petra was talking about, to change that job into a job that I wanted to have, which expended a lot more work. It expended a lot more activity. It expended a lot more thinking and processing and a lot more doing. And again, many people say, "Wow, you change your jobs, but you do so well in this one." Yes, but I don't like that one.
Mm.
So go ahead. I
I
hear.
was,
I hear you. I heard a
the
thought on the
it,
tip of your tongue, Sheila. Go
I
ahead.
did. I was actually going to ask you if you found that you had to be in that initial when there was a job you didn't like and leaving tomorrow wasn't an option. Did you find that you could see a point in the future where you could change the job as long as you accepted it now, or were you just knowing about yourself that you would be able to do that even if you couldn't see the direction yet?
Here's the only thing I knew.
Okay.
The only thing I knew was I was not going to be in this job forever.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'm not going to be in this job a year from now. Now, did I know which job I wanted? Nope, I did not.
Okay. Okay.
and and here was my schedule. The job I had, I worked 2 days on and 2 days off, and they were 12-hour days. That makes for a long 2 days.
Right.
On my 2 days off, I was working in a different place, learning different skills to
Oh.
see if I liked that job. And
Oh.
and I switched that a couple of times, and I finally found one that I enjoyed tremendously, and I continued with that 2 days on and 2 days off. 2 days on, I was in the job I was tasked and paid to do. 2 days off, I was working in the job that I wanted to do.
Oh,
So
wow.
and yeah, so literally, I think I worked for about 4 or 5 months straight without a day off.
Wow.
Um, be, because I was working, practicing,
And
learning.
you know,
Yes.
s- and I want to let Petra have an opportunity to talk here, but I was reading about a research study in 2020 that was talking about the requirements for workers to be able to enjoy their jobs and accept new technologies. And one of the qualities that you had to have was the ability to be resilient. And that's what I'm hearing you say you had. You had a focus, you were able to take a bad situation and turn it around into something that worked better for you. But what I appreciate about what you're saying is that you still committed to doing the best job you could in that job you didn't like.
Exactly. And I think we have to do that
Yeah.
because everyone is looking at you. And if you tend to badmouth the place that you're in, the relationship that you're in, the whatever it is that you're in, if you tend to badmouth that or don't work at making it a good thing, people will take note of that and they will say, "But you want to come work here? No, with your attitude, we don't want you."
Right.
So that's I knew that, and so I worked as they say, I worked really hard to make a turn lemons into lemonade, if you will. Yes.
Job.
Petra,
Hmm.
question for you about yoga. How does yoga, because when you say yoga, I don't do yoga, but when you say yoga, I'm hearing lots of the readings that I read on yoga is it's a place where you can just go into yourself, and it's strength and it's flexibility and it's a mind easing, mind comforting kinds of thing. Is that true? Am I saying that right about yoga?
Yes, I think so. I think really yoga is a mind shaping therapy, if you want to say so. And this is why I chose this verb as well, because during my yoga teacher training, I received my personal mantra in Sanskrit, which is the old Indian language. And
Ah,
this mantra contained the word accept.
excellent.
So
Aha.
it's really close to your heart.
Yeah, really, because it's one of my main challenges, if you want to say.
Mm.
Okay.
And I think that's really hard sometimes, just as you described your job challenge. I think it's difficult to accept oneself sometimes
Mm-hmm.
if because every person has, well, good sides or bad bad sides, if you want to say so. And it's to accept it's difficult to accept the sides which you don't like about yourself. And this is what I learned in yoga, to accept every aspect of myself. And this is quite interesting. And another thing is that you always want to be in a pose like being in a magazine. So you, as if you should be depicted. And this is not the sense of yoga. It's just the feeling. So how much can I do without getting stressed or without harming my? It's just a comforting thing to go into the asana. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. That is really interesting how you say that. Okay, I'll ask both of you. Sheila, when did you accept the fact that your life was going to be totally different when Zeke entered it?
On day one.
And ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Zeke, her golden retriever.
Right.
Yes.
Goodness.
And also on day one. And Petra, when did you accept the fact that you becoming a mom with your two, I'm not going to say your children's names, just I want to keep them safe, it's okay. But when you became a mom, when did you accept the fact that your life was going to be totally upside down, changed from what you had thought it was going to be, and all of a sudden, oh, I have to now be a mom? How did you accept that?
Wow, that was not so easy.
Yes.
Because everything went upside down.
Yeah, right? Yes.
It was quite a challenge to become a mom. Yeah, literally from day one on.
Okay.
Well, not even the pregnancy, but as soon as my first child was born.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's both a moment and a process.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Sheila, and Petra, the article I was talking about that I read, and it says there is no better explanation than Jon Kabat-Zinn's in coming to our senses, healing ourselves and the world through mindfulness, which is something that Petra said. Now, here's the quote, and it's a paragraph. I'll make it quick. Acceptance doesn't, by any stretch of the imagination, mean passive resignation. Quite the opposite.
Right.
It takes a huge amount of fortitude and motivation to accept what is, especially when you don't like it, and then work wisely and effectively as best you possibly can with the circumstances that you find yourself in and with the resources at your disposal, both inner and outer, to mitigate, heal, redirect, and change what can be changed. I liked that. I saw that and I said, "Ooh, I really like that." Petra, what do you think of that statement?
Yes, I totally like it too, because I think Jon Kabat-Zinn is a wonderful person, and I read his books and they are so fantastic and helped me a lot. So I really like that.
Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, I didn't pay Petra to say that. I didn't know that she read his books, but I'm talking about this one.
Well, and now I have to ask, what was his name again, so I can go and look them up too.
Jon Kabat-Zinn, Kabat-Zinn, Zinn.
Thank you.
And this book was Coming to Our Senses, Healing Ourselves and the World Through Mindfulness.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You know,
I was reading a study as well that was published in 2020, and this study by Ng, Alor, and Levy found that nowadays, I'm going to introduce this by going backwards a little bit. Nowadays, people are talking about a pill that will make you live longer. But these fellows were looking at personal qualities that actually do make you live longer, or help you live longer, rather. And we know, of course, feeding your body well and not smoking, those physical qualities. But accepting yourself and helping others are two stepping stones in the complicated pattern of longevity, but which they have found, science has proven, that these do add to longevity and healthy longevity.
Is it because you're serving a purpose, or do you know why?
Certainly helping others is serving a purpose, but also, as Petra was saying, embracing all of you, the good and the bad, and then being able to determine where you go with that.
I like that. And Sheila, can you tell our listening audience where they can reach you?
My website is zekeandsheila.com.
And your email address is still under construction, huh?
Still under construction.
So send all those complaints and concerns to me.
Straight to Wayne, and he will tell you how.
That's at wayne@mindsyncing.com. My website, however, is www.mindsyncing.com.
Thank you, Wayne.
And if you want to, you can send some good
oh, please,
thoughts there
yes.
too. Yes,
oh,
but
yes,
yes. all the complaints and all the bad words, send those to me. You bet.
Send all the good ones to Wayne too, and he'll pass them on to me.
And if you have some ideas as to which verbs we could talk about in the future, let us know that. Okay, Petra. So you picked Accept. You talked to us about Accept with yoga and your therapist job. As a therapist, what do you have to accept about some of your clients? Do you accept that some of them will be happy with your therapy? Do you accept the fact that some of them won't be? What happens when someone is not happy with the therapy that you provide them?
Yeah, this is a delicate topic. I think the main problem is when people come to me and don't want to take responsibility for that. And they come and they say, well, you are the therapist, so do something. And I'm going to lie down and, well, I let you work.
Yeah, I can see that would not be the most effective environment.
This is the worst case, because if people don't co-work with you, then nothing is going to happen. They have to be open. They have to have the will to get healthy or whatever they want to become. And yes, this is a really difficult challenge for me to accept the limits.
So I'm hearing you say that they also have to accept their own responsibility to work with you collaboratively. Is that true?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I like that. And sense of responsibility. You know what? I hear too often in the news, accountability and responsibility is lacking. People have they do not hold themselves responsible. They do not hold themselves accountable. They have accepted the fact that it's not my fault, it's your fault only, and I have nothing to do with that. Wow, such a cool segue into that thought process. Sheila, how about you? What's next on your list of things to offer us today?
Well, I wanted to add to that too, because for a period of time many years ago, I had a small counseling practice, and another challenging client was one who blamed everyone else and as we were saying, would not accept their own personal responsibility, and they required that I tell the other person to change. So that was a challenge. But I have a funny story about that time too. My mentor told me that when you have a new client and you're a new counselor and they don't show up for the second appointment, you say to yourself, did I talk too much? Did I talk too little? What did I do wrong? And he said, but as you mature as a counselor and a client cancels their next appointment, you say to yourself, free time.
Okay. I like that free time, and you get paid for that free time too, right? Yes. And I'm looking at the clock. We are at the 24-minute mark. Oh my goodness, this is going really fast. So if any of us, and I'll leave it to Petra and Sheila, if there's some things that you want to say, let's say them now, because we have 3 minutes before the 27 minutes with Sheila and Wayne are completed today.
Okay. Petra, you go ahead, jump in.
Okay. So I'm going to accept that I have the final word. And thank you so much for having me once again here on your show. It was such a pleasure and a great honor. And I'm so happy to be with you here. And yes, thank you.
You are welcome anytime.
Anytime. And I hope your friends in Deutschland listen to this podcast and the other podcasts that we have, but particularly with yours, because you know what? It would be fun to have one of your friends say, "Hey, Petra, I'd like to be on Wayne and Sheila's show. How do we do that?"
I let them know, Wayne.
we would accept them with open arms.
Yes, we would.
I'm going to advertise.
Thank you for being with us, Petra. And thank you for those who listen today. We always enjoy your feedback.
Absolutely. Petra, thank you very much for saying yes. Sheila, thank you for being such a gracious co-host. It's just fun doing this every time.
Yes, it is. I agree.
Yes. Thank you very, very much. So thanks, everyone. And Sheila, would you take us home?
You stumped me here. We were talking about accepting people and situations and easing your way through life using acceptance. And thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone. See you next Thursday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.